In the beginning, the story of Apple was not about computers or iPhones. It was about two young men with big dreams and a little garage. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, often called Woz, were friends who shared a passion for technology. They believed that computers should not only be for large companies or scientists. They wanted to bring computers into the hands of ordinary people, into homes, schools, and small offices. This idea sounded impossible to many in the 1970s, but the two Steves were ready to take risks. With very little money, but a lot of determination, they started building their first product inside a small garage in California. That garage would later become a symbol of innovation and a place where history was made. From this simple beginning, Apple was born. In 1976, the two Steves introduced their first computer, the Apple I. It was not perfect, but it was something new. Unlike other machines at the time, the Apple I was built for people to use at home. It was a starting point, but soon they created the Apple II, a product that would change everything. The Apple II was colorful, friendly, and easier to use. Schools began to buy it, families started to keep it in their living rooms, and children learned to play and even code with it. Apple II became one of the most successful early personal computers, and suddenly, Apple was not just a small garage project anymore. It was a growing company with big dreams. The success of Apple II gave the company the confidence to dream even bigger. In 1984, Apple released the Macintosh. This was not just another computer, it was a revolution. The Macintosh was the first computer with a graphical user interface. This meant people could click on icons, move a mouse, and interact with the computer visually instead of typing long, complicated commands. Apple wanted to make technology human, creative, and fun. The famous commercial for the Macintosh showed a woman throwing a hammer to break old traditions, symbolizing how Apple was breaking the rules of the computer world. The Macintosh captured the imagination of many, and Apple became known as a company that wanted to change the world. But success was not always smooth. Behind the scenes, tensions grew inside the company. Steve Jobs, though a visionary, was sometimes difficult to work with. His perfectionism and bold ideas clashed with other leaders at Apple. In 1985, after a long power struggle, Steve Jobs was forced to leave the company he had created. For many, it seemed like the end of his story with Apple. Without him, Apple continued to produce computers, but the magic began to fade. The company faced challenges, and its products no longer stood out as much as before. Meanwhile, Steve Jobs did not give up. He started a new company called Next, and also bought a small animation studio that would later become Pixar. With Pixar, Jobs brought us films like Toy Story, showing that creativity and technology could come together in beautiful ways. Though he was away from Apple, his spirit of innovation was still alive. But back at Apple, the company was struggling. By the mid-1990s, Apple was losing money and losing hope. Many believed Apple would not survive. Then came a turning point. In 1997, Apple made a bold decision. They brought Steve Jobs back. The company was in trouble, but Steve returned with new energy and new ideas. He simplified Apple's product line, cutting down unnecessary projects and focusing on creating a few great products instead of many average ones. He also brought with him a sense of design, beauty, and simplicity that would define Apple forever. Steve Jobs believed that technology was not just about function, but also about feeling. A computer should not just work well, it should also inspire you. The late 1990s saw Apple slowly rise again. In 1998, Apple launched the iMac, a colorful, modern-looking computer that made people excited about technology once more. It was not only powerful, but also beautiful. Suddenly, computers were not boring boxes anymore. They became fun, stylish, and part of daily life. The iMac became a symbol of Apple's rebirth. But Steve Jobs and his team did not stop there. Apple was about to change the music world. In 2001, Apple released the iPod, a small device that could hold 1,000 songs in your pocket. This was more than just a gadget. It changed how people listened to music. With the iPod and later the iTunes Store, Apple made it easy for people to carry, buy, and enjoy music legally. Millions of people around the world started carrying iPods, and once again, Apple became a leader in innovation. Still, the biggest revolution was yet to come. In 2007, Steve Jobs stood on stage and introduced the iPhone. He called it 3 products in one: a phone, an iPod, and an internet communicator. But really, it was much more than that. The iPhone changed the way humans interact with technology forever. Touch screens, apps, mobile internet. Suddenly, the world was in the palm of your hand. The iPhone became not just a device, but a lifestyle. It transformed industries, created new businesses, and connected people in ways never seen before. Apple did not stop with the iPhone. In 2010, the iPad was introduced, bridging the gap between a phone and a computer. The Apple Watch and AirPods followed, expanding Apple's ecosystem. Each product carried the same philosophy: simplicity, beauty, and innovation. Apple was no longer just a computer company. It had become a culture, a symbol of design and progress. But behind the products, the story was also about courage, failure, and persistence. Steve Jobs faced failures, rejection, and even health struggles. Yet he always believed in the power of dreams and innovation. When he passed away in 2011, the world mourned the loss of a visionary. Yet his ideas and spirit continued to guide Apple. Under the leadership of Tim Cook, Apple kept growing, becoming one of the most valuable companies in the world. Today, Apple's story is not only about gadgets and devices. It is about a vision that began in a small garage and grew into something global. It teaches us that with passion, courage, and determination, even the wildest dreams can become reality. Apple's journey reminds us that failure is not the end. It can be the beginning of something even greater. And now, let us pause and reflect on the lessons we can learn from Apple's incredible journey. First, think different. Apple taught us that innovation comes from daring to see the world in a new way. Second, keep it simple. From the Macintosh to the iPhone, Apple showed that simplicity can be powerful. Third, never give up. Even when Apple was near collapse, it rose again. Fourth, design matters. Apple made technology not just useful, but beautiful. Fifth, create experiences, not just products. Apple gave us joy, wonder, and connection. Sixth, embrace change. From computers to phones, Apple constantly reinvented itself. Seventh, dream big. Apple started in a garage, yet it changed the world. And eighth, believe in people. Steve Jobs believed that technology is most powerful when it empowers human beings. As you listen to this story, remember that learning English is also a journey. Just like Apple's rise, your progress may have challenges, but with patience and practice, you can achieve amazing results. At Fluent Storytime, we believe that stories are the best way to learn. When you listen to stories like Apple's, you not only improve your English skills, but also gain inspiration from real lives and real lessons. Each word you learn, each phrase you understand, is like a step forward in your own journey. Apple's journey is proof that small beginnings can lead to big victories. It is proof that courage and creativity can change the future. And it is proof that with passion, we can all leave a mark on the world. From 2 friends in a garage to billions of devices in hands around the world, Apple's story continues to inspire. And now, as you practice your English with Fluent Storytime, may you also find the courage to dream big, to think different, and to never give up.